One of these days the Oscar will give something to recognize best cast or best casting. It could be the director, it could be what we call the showrunner or whatever. But in relation to The Exorcist, Father Karras, the original intent was Stacy Keach or Jack Nicholson. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Nicholson. So today we're doing a short article or podcast on why William Friedkin initially thought of Jack Nicholson, but eventually gave it to an actor I think who was extremely underrated, and he should have won an Oscar for this part, Jason Miller. Now, Jason Miller, before The Exorcist, was best known as a writer. He not only won the Pulitzer Prize for writing that championship season, and he also directed the film version 82, but he played again the troubled priest Father Damien Karras in Friedkin's The Exorcist, which was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor despite the fact he is a lead. In an interview, Miller stated they had a major verbal confrontation with Friedkin during the film of The Exorcist and discontinued what happened behind the stage. Allegedly, the director fired a gun near his ear to get an authentic reaction from him. He told Friedkin that he is an actor and that he didn't need a gun to act surprised or startled. Now, Jack Nicholson was up for the part of Father Karras before Miller eventually landed the role. Friedkin thought he was too unholy to ever play a priest. Friedkin says in the making of the documentary on The Exorcist, he cast Miller as Father Karras because he had seen him in a stage play and his performance reeked of failed Catholicism. Now, get this, ladies and gentlemen. The screenplay for the movie followed the novel very closely. Now, again, Nicholson was considered, and Paul Newman was interested before Blatty, the writer, hired Stacy Keach. Three A-list actresses of the time, Audrey Hepburn, Anne Bancroft, and Jane Fonda, were considered for Chris the Ellen Burstyn role, but rejected the part. Now, Friedkin also rejected Blatty's friend Charlotte MacLaine, since she had starred in the possession of Joel Delaney, a similar film. Now, Carol Burnett was considered, but after meeting her, Friedkin believed she had the range beyond her comic television persona. Blatty agreed, but the studio turned her down. Ellen Burstyn eventually received a part after she told Friedkin she was destined to play Chris. Discussing the Catholic upbringing, she later rejected. Studio head Ted Ashley vigorously opposed casting her, but relented after no other alternatives emerged. And of course, the price was right. Now, how this was going on, Keach was heavily considered for the part. Now, because he was a noted drama actor for quite some time. Now, again, he had first spoken to Miller after a performance he played that champion season, and of course, Miller had received a Catholic education and studied to be a Jesuit priest for 3 years at Catholic University of America until experiencing a spiritual crisis similar to Karras's. Karras's crisis is that he does believe in God, but he feels that God or Jesus has let him down. Upon reading the novel, he told Friedkin, "Karras is me." Friedkin responded that Keach had already been signed, but granted his request for a screen test. During the test, Miller and Burstyn performed a scene where Chris informs Karras that she suspects Reagan might be possessed. He then filmed Burstyn interviewing Miller about his life and asked him to recite Mass as if for the first time. After viewing the footage the next morning, Friedkin realized that Miller's dark good looks, haunted eyes, quiet intensity, and low compassionate voice were exactly what the part needed. The studio then bought out Keach's contract. Now, the idea about Keach being the lead was being considered long before the movie was put together, because they felt he had that kind of Midwestern look that they were looking for. Now, if you ever see The Exorcist, you'll see what I mean. The comparison in the way both actors act. It's Stacy Keach again. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, it was right after he sort of his actor studio phase. No doubt he could have played the part, but he needs somebody that was nondescript. Like Miller kind of looked Italian, kind of looked Greek. You could see him growing up in a Catholic household or whatever. Keach seemed a little bit more specific, like he looked kind of, either Slavic or Eastern European. But Miller, a very handsome man, and you could tell there was something going on in his head in the scenes, because every scene you see of The Exorcist, there's layers here. Like for example, when, well, it's Mercedes McCambridge playing Reagan, but your mother's in here too, Karras, and that really sets him off. Not too often you see a Catholic priest or somebody studying for to be a Catholic priest or a priest lose their temper like that. And when the Karras character attacks Reagan, he knows this is the child is not at fault. He's possessed, but he completely loses his freaking mind. Now there was no there was any indication of buying out the contract. I'm hearing six figures. They probably saved money in the deal, but like I said, casting is everything. Can you see Jack Nicholson and Carol Burnett in the movie? Because the Chris McNeil character, Ellen Burstyn, has been kind of pigeonholed since then. People don't even remember she was in Resurrection or Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Pretty well what they remember is she was in, The Exorcist. And, she was injured on set too, and they pulled her back on one of the big scenes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a chance, there's different documentaries and books on The Exorcist. And read about what the studios would do. By the mid-1970s, there were still, some of them were run by corporations, some of them were run by car companies, some of them being run by what they call multinationals. I think one of the studios was an insurance company. Like they were just looking at TV rights and international rights and stuff like that. It makes sense to have like a Jack Nicholson. They put Jack Nicholson in the Who movie, which made no sense, but it drew a lot more people. But Ellen Burstyn at the time, she was literally the hottest actress in Hollywood because she did many Oscar-nominated movies where you either played a supporting role or the main role. So, again, Carol Burnett, Ellen Burstyn are very close in her personality. But see, Carol Burnett had done so much comedy. It took how many years for Cher to be taken seriously as an actor or actress, as we say? It took Silkwood. It took Five a Dime, Jimmy Dean, right? Up until Mask came out, she should have won for Mask and didn't. She won for Moonstruck. But it takes a while for a straight comedic actor to be taken seriously. Phyllis Diller said that. That's not me saying that. Phyllis Diller said, I can never... Can you imagine if you put Phyllis Diller in a dramatic role like a Godfather type movie where she's a head of a crime organization? Pretty freaky. Hard Enough Albert Books and that, the movie where I can't say the title because I've been banned from the channel. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our movie essays, let us know in the like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, in a parallel universe, the Marquis said The Exorcist, starring Alec Guinness, Jack Nicholson, and Carol Burnett. Welcome to an alternate universe, The Exorcist alternate universe. And you know who's playing? You know who's probably playing Reagan? Susan Day. Crazier things have happened. Have a good one.